the FBI assessment that's doing a little bit of work in the way that Merrick Garland defined it, why wouldn't he have told the American public the FBI conducted a search in that public availability that he had when he announced that there was going to be a special counsel? And why did it take all the way November, December, and basically to the end of the month in January? Why does a Democrat get 3 months before we know that this occurred? The FBI, this is according to the Wall Street Journal, I'm reading their headline, the FBI searched Biden's former think tank office in November. It says the search was undertaken after an agreement with the White House. Now, this is in the Penn Biden Center where they initially found the classified documents. Remember, I've got the timeline here beside me. The initial discovery of those documents, according to the Biden crew, was on November 2nd. Now, we don't know when the FBI engaged in this search, but presumably it happened after the midterms, although it's possible it happened before the midterms. We don't have the date. Let me read you. It's a relatively short article. People familiar with the matter have told the Wall Street Journal that the FBI searched President Biden's former office in Washington in November. And again, they discovered roughly a dozen classified documents on November 2nd. But this is the important part of this story so far. It couldn't be determined whether investigators found any additional items in the search. Now, Buck, here's what stands out to me about this in general. When Mar-a-Lago gets raided, the FBI leaks photos of the classified documents that they found on the carpet inside of Mar-a-Lago. We have months of histrionic media coverage about what a threat to our republic this was. We're just finding out now on the final day of January that the FBI raided Biden's Washington office in November. And now we know the FBI has reportedly looked at his house as well. But this is the way that stories are covered for if you are a Democrat. The story doesn't come out until the very end of January, months later. This continues to make the White House look worse. But they protected the White House because this information did not come out anywhere near the time that it actually took place.
I think it's very clear that the FBI at a high level saw the Mar-a-Lago documents as an opportunity to score some points with the regime in power. Because this is something I always say, Democrats take care of their henchmen. You can be a Democrat who gets fired from your job in the FBI. You know what happens to you? You get a CNN gig, a book deal, and probably a board seat or a professorship down the line. That's what the Democrats do. So within the deep state corridors, they understand, hey, we got a chance here. They had a chance at Mar-a-Lago to really dig in. I mean, to the point about the photos. Why did those photos ever make it out, Clay? Why were they taken in that way? Why splay out the top secret documents? We all know why. And I think it's because senior people in the FBI, whose names we may not even know right now, but we might in the future, were thinking, well, you know, I would love to be Homeland Security Director, or I would love to be senior White House advisor for whatever, right? So they took that as an opportunity because we've seen very different handling of the situation as it pertains to Joe Biden. And we didn't even mention this on the show yesterday, but, you know, there are these concerns about notebooks that have been discovered in the in Biden's Delaware home, his primary residence, I believe, in Wilmington, concerning classified material. So once again, Joe Biden made a habit of this. This went on for many years. For everything that we find that's a page of classified that is still next to the Corvette in the garage, he probably took 100 other pages home. I'm just guessing, but this is not something that was new to him. This is not something that wasn't a regular occurrence. And it is pretty much a slap in the face to everybody out there. You know, we get, every time we bring this up, Clay, we get calls from people saying, oh, I had a TS clearance in the Army. I had a TS clearance at DIA or FBI or wherever. And if I had done any of this stuff, my life would be over. And for Joe Biden, it's not even really a slap on the wrist from not only the legal authorities, but politically they're trying to make it seem like this should be no big deal as well. The only viable defense that Joe Biden has against all this, that is ironclad. And I will say this, Joe Biden has an ironclad defense available to him, which is he's not of sound mind, and it's actually sad that he can't remember where he leaves things because of what's going on with him upstairs. But he won't make that argument, obviously, because then people might say, why are you president?
Yeah, let me just go back to the timeline, Buck, because again, breaking news, this just came down during our commercial break. Wall Street Journal reporting that the FBI conducted a search of Joe Biden's Penn Biden Center office after there were reportedly 12 classified documents discovered there. What I want to go back to, Buck, is, and I've got this timeline here. People would have just seen it who are watching on video at clayandbuck.com. I got this timeline that I keep on my desk here because I know this is going to keep remaining relevant. When Merrick Garland came out and spoke, Buck, I jotted down several dates that he gave us. He said on November 2nd, the discovery of these classified documents were uncovered in Joe Biden's office. On November 4th, the archives notified the Department of Justice. And then he said something interesting. He said on November 9th, there was an FBI assessment. Just reading between the lines now to what we know, this to me would suggest that FBI search occurred on November 9th, right after the midterm elections. And then the other date he gave us was November 14th, U.S. Attorney Lausch was given this investigation. That would suggest to me, Buck, that the FBI may have found something on November 9th. You following my timeline here? If Merrick Garland says on November 9th the FBI made an assessment, I would presume, and maybe there was a raid before November 9th, but I can't imagine the FBI, now that we have this Wall Street Journal report, would not have made an assessment based on doing their own search there. Now, why didn't the FBI at that time also initiate a search at Joe Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home, which it appears they have done now? Why did they not also then initiate a search at the beach house? That's a really valid question that I would love to ask Merrick Garland right now. But we don't know, again, according to the FBI report that we just got from the Wall Street Journal, whether they found anything. But it's possible, Buck, that they found additional classified documents there, or documents that they believe might have been of significant nature, because on November 14th, we know a U.S. attorney, this guy Lausch, was put in charge of this. But my point on this is the FBI assessment that's doing a little bit of work in the way that Merrick Garland defined it. Why wouldn't he have told the American public the FBI conducted a search in that public availability that he had when he announced that there was going to be a special counsel? And why did it take all the way November, December, and basically to the end of the month in January? Why does a Democrat get 3 months before we know that this occurred?
We all know why, right? I mean, you're asking these questions.
These are important questions.
You have to ask them, but I'm just saying, these are actually, they shouldn't be rhetorical questions, but they are rhetorical questions, right? We should be saying, wait, hold on a second, but we ask them because we know what this is really all about. And, we started off, I very much stand behind my assessment that even the special counsel designation with regard to Biden is going to be very limited in scope and isn't going to really, nothing's going to come of this because they would have to choose to expand the investigation into other areas. And I don't, look, we all know you can't predict the future. I could be wrong. Nobody could have predicted that good old Joe was papering his walls like Nash in a Beautiful Mind, papering his walls with classified information. Nobody could have seen that one coming. But I don't think that this is, who is the basketball player is John Nash is the Steve Nash is the basketball player. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I know you know.
John Nash is the brilliant
mathematician from a beautiful
mind
who had all the diagrams of all the classified super secret stuff.
Steve Nash is the basketball coach, formerly point guard, very talented basketball player, also far left wing. Oh, sorry, now you got me crossed up. I'm getting Steve Kerr and Steve Nash mixed up. Steve Nash, still a basketball coach, also a point guard.
Point
Kerr
here
was
being,
a shooting guard.
Point here
yeah, you got me all crossed up, Buck, with your sports reference.
You're Nashville. We got Nashes. A lot of
I got
Nash
a son
going
named
on.
Nash.
Yeah, a lot of Nash. So we have Joe Biden document fiasco, and we talk about why this and why don't they push him more and why is the FBI treating him so differently. I mean, Clay, we started off the show just talking about how yet again another chapter of depravity for Hunter Biden, which we have to put into the context of Hunter Biden was getting $80,000 a month from Burisma in Ukraine while his dad was the point man for Obama on U.S. foreign policy in Ukraine. So again, it's not just about how Hunter Biden is gross. It's about the Biden family is corrupt and was operating what seems to be a criminal enterprise. I mean, Hunter didn't pay taxes on money he only made because of who daddy was. So, and then there's all the other crimes. This demanding, I mean, if a normal person tells tells a legal assistant, you better FaceTime me naked or else I'm not going to pay you.
We need that's coming out of nowhere for people out there who may not have seen this this story. But yes, you're right. I mean, the Daily Mail, we need to talk about this when we come back out of the next break because again, I wasn't expecting for there to be a breaking news story about the FBI. But the Daily Mail headline is exclusive. Hunter Biden texted his assistant, set phone up so I can spy on you showering. Hunter Biden told his assistant, threatening to withhold her pay if she didn't FaceTime him naked, according to text. She is the Buck fourth employee who he's had a sexual relation that we know of, who he's had a sexual relationship with. I mean, that's great. How many people out there do you think have ever texted anyone, FaceTime me while you shower? Probably relatively low. How many people have done that to an employee? Surely there's not that many people who have ever done this.
Clay, Hunter Biden threatened to withhold cash from his assistant's pay if she didn't FaceTime him naked. This is the fourth employee with whom he has had a sexual relationship. See, the problem with having a sexual relationship, which we all know, with somebody who is relying on you paying them so they can pay their bills, pay their rent, feed themselves, is that creates a totally unfair power dynamic and a toxic situation for that individual, which is why you're not supposed to sleep with subordinates, people that are dependent on you for a paycheck for obvious reasons. I just at this point where it's almost remarkable, Clay. Hunter Biden makes the Kennedys look like choir boys. I mean, Hunter Biden is a degenerate of a whole other level and degree. And this is the guy who is actually at the center of the Biden influence peddling scheme.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to read one text to you, and this is up on dailymail.com. He sent her a message. This is it's his employee, right? It's not some random prostitute, of which there are many. He said, you have to make up for back work by FaceTiming me and or going to our next club party. And he said another time, when can you FaceTime? If we FaceTime, the rule has to be no talk of anything but sex, and we must be naked, and we have to do whatever the other person asks within reason. When can you talk? I can later tonight, she replied. So, look, I mean, FaceTiming shower requests to your employees and then having it documented that you did this on your own laptop. Again, his peccadillos, as they are, may not be all criminal. But it does raise the question, Buck, the idea that they have tried to sell of, oh, Hunter was just a great lawyer. That's why these Ukrainian and Chinese companies wanted to retain him. Buck, you wouldn't retain this guy to, go feed your cats if you were out of town. He's totally unreliable in all respects.
Clay, it's just like the Clinton Foundation, which people, now the Democrats want to pretend this didn't exist. The Clinton Global Initiative was getting money from tyrannical regimes all over the world. And actually, at one point, I think there was even a request to have Bill speak to some, I think was it backed by North Korea or something? Really like crazy stuff. And we were told it was all about charity. It was actually all about buying off the Clintons. We're not idiots. Bill Clinton's speeches aren't worth $500,000 apiece. They certainly aren't anymore, are they?